Just waiting on the circle to stop spinning. All right, we're live, guys. Another edition of Talking Preps. I got part of the crew here today. We're missing Chris Hughes. Chris is maybe without it. We may be without Chris for the next 2 weeks. Guys, CMS put out a survey this last week about fall sports. Among his answers, they said they would not allow remote learning under Plan C. Later on, they came out and made a statement saying that no decision has been made. Just your thoughts on that, Grice. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's interesting to see. And having, seen the survey there, it's one of those things where it's hard for them to deny it. But, Langston, I kind of want to ask you, normally I'm the master of controversy or saying stuff. And I know that at least from my social media, and I think others would agree, you seem to get a little bit of heat and kind of starting this accusation of a private school agenda. So I wanted to kind of turn that on you and see what your thoughts were on it.
Dude, I was on my way to Indiana putting my son in school, and I did see some of that stuff on Twitter and the emails. I was really just reporting the news. I've been covering high school here since 1988, and my only agenda was to, do a really good job at high schools. When I started here, Grice, nobody even quoted kids. It was just all coaches. They write a story about kids. They don't write about coaches. And I thought that was crazy. We didn't do all observer teams or anything other than football and basketball. So I tried to expand the coverage in that stuff. And all I've ever tried to do is do right by CMS. Both of my kids went to school part of the time at CMS. I love CMS. I'm a product of CMS. I graduated from West Charlotte. Very proud Lion. I don't know where that came from. I was really just reporting the news. CMS gave us a survey, which I shared with you guys today, that said under Plan C there'd be no athletics, and we reported it, and several other outlets reported it. The day before that, I reported the same thing about other school systems, including Union County, and there was no controversy. So, I don't get it. In terms of a private school agenda, I have none. I want CMS to do well and win all they can win. I enjoy it. It's fun. And I'm always there for state championships. I've been to over 100 state championships, and probably 90 of them are CMS schools. So there you have it. So anyway, let's drop the theme music. Let's get to the show.
That's good stuff right there.
You like that?
Yeah, I think you explained yourself well too before we even put that little video on. If you really look what you posted, you were just politically correct, but people took it to a different agenda in their own thoughts. I think they were thinking like, oh, there's no fall sports. They've been canceled completely. Like have no chance to play at all, which is false, which CMS,
No, we were just saying that CMS returned a survey to the state association saying there'll be no sports under Plan C, and that just meant however long Plan C lasts, there'll be no sports, and that's something that they returned to the state association. So we and it came from CMS. This wasn't us, they gave it to us, so we just printed it. So, but no,
I think the right people or certain people made a call after that came out, and then the board went back and changed what was said on the survey. Doesn't seem like to me whoever sent out the survey and the board were on the same page.
Yeah, well, we just got to wait and see what happens. I think hopefully next week we'll get something from the state association. Maybe CMS will make a decision. In that way, we've got two parents in the back room. We got Mark Ellis and Anna Smith. They're going to join us. A group of parents will start a petition to get CMS to start allowing kids to go to practice, and these two are a big part of that. Anna Smith has two kids at Providence. He's a speech pathologist at CMS. Her son Ryan is in the marching band in Odyssey of the Mind, which is a school-sponsored academic competition team. Evan is a freshman. He's also in the marching band. And then Mark has a daughter studying journalism at UNC, alma mater, Gary Richmond. And he's also got a kid at Providence. His son Jackson played football and basketball. Jackson, Mark, I understand, was the only varsity athlete, or one of two varsity athletes at Providence who played two varsity sports last season. So congratulations on that. And I guess my first question, guys, is what led you guys to start the petition, and how's the response been so far? We'll start with Anna. We'll go to Mark.
Hey, thank you, Langston, for having me. We started the petition. It was a group of parents that have seniors at Providence High School, and we were wanting to just support our seniors and the staff as well. And we met, I guess it was last Tuesday, to kind of discuss what can we do, what are our biggest concerns. And one of the things that was brought up was sports. and how important that was for our the morale of the students, of the student body, and for their social, emotional health as well, not just for athletes. Like you said, my sons are not student athletes at Providence, but it's important to them that they have that well-rounded experience. So one of the ideas we came up with was, let's start a petition and see if we can get some movement on this.
Oops.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, not a problem. So just picking up where she left off. I mean, essentially, it's just we're not sure what's going to happen, and it can be a little bit frustrating, whether you're a coach or a parent or a student in this case. And I think at the end of the day, what I've heard, and I've been following this very closely, being Jackson's senior year, I've heard a lot about the adults in the room, but I haven't heard as much as I'd like to hear more about what's in it for the kids. Whether you're a Providence, whether you're a West Charlotte, CMS is a big system. It's second largest in the state. And I guess this petition was just our way of saying, hey, CMS, we're out here. We want to be heard. Whether it does any good or not, we're not sure, but we certainly want to support our student athletes and help them in any way possible, and just maybe come up with some creative things for them to be able to enjoy. If I understand that probably the board doesn't care that my kid's senior year and he's going to lose his senior year. That I know they don't care, but at the same time, I remember when I was an athlete, man, sports for me and other activities helped me do better in school, kept me focused. I wasn't one that could have a lot of idle time, and I just feel like there are certain things that are being talked about, and that's not one of them. And so this petition just says, hey, we're out here, and hopefully they'll listen to us to some degree. So,
thanks for joining us. It's great having parents on. We'd like to know if you've had any feedback from CMS or from students, and what or athletes, students. I understand we got some band members here. I'd like to hear what kind of feedback you've gotten.
Sure. I don't know if Anna's back, but yeah, Anna's, we talked the other day, and you think about the marching band, and you think about, sports drives so many other clubs, and so many, if we can get sports going, then that really opens up the opportunity for other, marching band, choir, just different things. So it doesn't necessarily have to be sports. It's just extracurricular activities. But Dale, to your specific question, we haven't got a whole lot of feedback yet. I think we're up to over 2,600 signatures on the petition. And I know there's a meeting tomorrow night. So from an adult base, we haven't got a lot of feedback. From the kids, they're very supportive, very much in lockstep with the petition that we've signed, and they're looking for help, is just like we are. So anybody that'll step up and hopefully have a voice for them as well, they're very appreciative. So, Anna.
And I'll just say, also, I have emailed all the board members. Some parents have emailed the board members. I have gotten feedback from one board member, or two rather, and their response to me has been about sports and extracurricular activities has been, well, we're going to get school started. Let's see how that rolls out. And then, maybe we can tackle that next on our agenda, which I appreciate them actually, acknowledging the fact that that's a concern. However, I would kind of defer to other counties around us that they are, let's say for Union County, for example, they are in, Plan B, which to me is really a daunting task to think about Plan B, and then there's some kids that are full remote, and they've already started back. They've started back. Just the workouts. I know marching band has started. Even in a small scale. So I'm not sure why they can't kind of manage both of those aspects of, seeing, can we not just at least start the workouts? To me, it's almost like it's a smaller, kind of a smaller subset of the bigger school system to see how that works out. I know they're concerned. One of the things that came back from Mr. Winston, Superintendent Winston, was that, they've had some issues with their staff having COVID, et cetera. but we don't know yet. I mean, it's all like, I think Mark said something about this, it's all about the adults and about what has happened to adults and their staff this summer. But I just haven't heard a whole lot about, other than they've really pushed forward on this virtual format, a lot about the kids and what they're doing to support these kids that are just sitting at home.
Yes, I'm a coach, and wondering, as you two as parents, what is and some insight into your perspective of what's being lost with keeping our kids out of workouts. For everyone, kind of keeping in mind that some of them haven't seen their teammates in an official capacity since March.
Well, for me, it's the less I can keep my kids away from video games and more in your hands, I am all for it all day long. It's one of those things. I think one of the things, not to regress, but that I was disappointed in is the Thursday before, everybody, we were supposed to go live. CMS was supposed to start practicing. Everybody was excited. Langston, you had a deal with the AD from Union County. You had Danny Hignite. You had Hal Bagwell in there. Really good show. And I was really impressed with the AD from Union County. And I think one of the things, my takeaway for you coaches was you guys had a plan in place. You had worked hard on it. You had thought about it. You had really put a lot into it. And I feel like Union County listened, and it's almost like they didn't trust you guys, but I trust you with everything. I trust the coaches with so much. And I just feel like that got lost as well. And would certainly love to see, at least, like Anna said, at least get the workouts going. Let's, baby steps, but man, just little things would be great. So
right. And Mark, too, something else is that these kids have been, at home, like you say. I mean, they've been getting together on their own, and I know that some kids have been having workouts on their own and that kind of thing, which can be kind of scary depending on who's training them. So, I mean, I'd hate for some injuries to occur because they were so motivated to continue their workouts. But also, they don't have they're not going to have interactions with their teachers in the way that they're used to. They're not going to have that face-to-face interaction. I'm concerned, really, for the district-wide is that they are not going to have that face-to-face interaction with their teachers to kind of talk with them about issues. They're not going to have their coaches, who are huge mentors to them, assistant coaches, trainers, the entire bit. And speaking from a marching band standpoint, it kind of involves a lot of that as well. I mean, you have the band director, you have the assistant directors, you have the different sectional leaders, and they're just, they don't have anyone that those adult mentors, because at some point in the day, our kids, as I may or may not have as a high school student, not listened to my parents, and I may have listened more to an adult that I trusted and respected. So they're losing out on that for sure.
Are you guys going to be at the school board meeting tomorrow? And if so, were you able to get your group on the docket for tomorrow night's meeting?
That's a great question. I'll take that real quick. So unfortunately, I'm not because of work. However, I am a part of the Providence High Athletic Booster Club, and we have the president of our club is on the docket. She is going to be speaking. Her son plays basketball, so we've already discussed it, and we kind of all in lockstep with her message. So we will have representation, and we're looking forward to being able to speak at that event.
Yeah, and it's my understanding as well that there's a group of CMS parents, high school parents, who wanted to also be able to address the board with these concerns as well. So hopefully they'll be able to speak at that meeting.
Good.
Well, I really appreciate you guys joining us on our show tonight. I think that parent involvement is critical right now. And Joe Evans was talking about that helmet behind you, Mark. And that's definitely not a South Meck helmet. That's a Clemson helmet. It looks like.
It is as orange as you can get, with Dabo's and Brad Burdell's signature on it. So no, that's orange.
My dad.
Before we let you go, Mark and Anna, is there a specific message you guys want to give to CMS? I know you guys really want us to return to practice. I know we got Coach Natoli and one of his players, Keenan. Keenan, take your mic off mute. Is there something you guys want to say to CMS or Superintendent Winston before we let you go, just kind of directly?
Yes, sir. So It's like
No, hold
it's
on,
like,
Keenan. This is for Anna and Mark.
He's ready to go.
He's ready to go.
Go ahead, Mark.
I'll cede my time to Keenan. That's not a problem. Yeah, I just want them, again, going back to thinking, I want more talk about more about the kids and more about their opportunities and less about, if they just a little more transparency as to what's going on. So I'm hoping to hear maybe some metrics versus just this is not a good situation or the numbers don't look good. Well, what numbers? Just the more we can get on the same page with where we are, I think, and it'll just be easier for everybody to understand it.
All right, Anna, we'll give you the last one here. Thanks a lot, Mark.
I would just say that, I would appreciate the board, and I know it's a hard call right now. I get it. I would not want to be in their shoes, but we have voted them in to, make decisions that are in the best interest for our children. So while we are looking, to really have that remote learning be top notch, I had a parent say to me, it's like taking the best parts of your job for some kids. So if your job is a mom, let's say, for example, and your favorite parts of being a mom are, spending time with your kids and vacations and that kind of thing. But your least favorite part of the job of being a mom is cooking dinner. Well, now you've just left some kids with the least favorite part of their school day. It's a huge motivator for kids, sports, for those kids that, maybe academics isn't their thing. And I really want them to think about those kids. I particularly, in my experience in high school, and I'm relatively a local, I grew up in Gastonia, went to Ashford High School. My husband went to West Charlotte. I was in the chorus, and that was a huge motivator for me. That's what got me through high school. It got me to college, App State alum. So I'm just saying that I think they really, really are missing a big piece of the overall, especially high school students, high school in particular. Let's not forget about those guys as well.
All right. Well, Anna, thanks for coming on the show. Good luck with the petition. Good luck with the school board and everything moving forward. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Now we've been promising all day a big message from CMS students, football players, to the public. Coach Mike Natoli of Independence was kind of the guy that spearheaded this. I was literally driving my son to Indiana to go to college, and he started texting me, and we started talking back and forth. And I thought it was a wonderful idea, Coach, that you had, and we kind of massaged a little bit, and we came up with the idea to kind of do a video, and we're going to drop this in 2 parts, and we're going to drop the first part if I can find it, and then we're going to come back, talk a little bit, and we'll drop the second part.
My name is Quincy McCall. I'm a wide receiver for RGK High School. I think we should be able to practice with social distancing because it will give us the opportunity to improve our team and our skills.
Hello, my name is Sean Boss. I go to Olympic High School, and I'm in the class of 2021, and I play quarterback. I feel like social distancing in practice can benefit players and coaches just because players get the time to get out the house and be active and also spend time with their teammates and practice in the game they love.
How you doing? My name is Caleb Washington. I attend Mallard Creek High School. I feel we should practice social distancing while practicing so athletes have the opportunity to prepare for the next level, especially seniors.
I'm Jonathan Cannon. I play at Advanced High School. I believe that we should be able to practice right now because football is a happy place for a lot of kids, including myself. And, we need happiness in our lives because you never know what a kid could be thrown to in football might be their escape route.
Like Roy North Somerset, go to Charlotte-Mecklenburg High School, class of 21, play DN, outside linebacker. I think we should social distance practice so everybody could be able to play football and stay safe at the same time and have a good season. It would mean a lot to me, so that way my senior season would be great. I can go out with a bang and get ready for college.
Hey y'all, my name is Holland Stallings. I'm a quarterback at Providence in the class of 2021. I believe that for the mental, emotional, and physical health of our CMS student athletes that we need to be on the field practicing. We miss our coaches and teammates, and we need some sense of normalcy to ensure that we have a safe and productive outlet during these uncertain times.
I'm Jay DeBose. I attend West Charlotte High School, class of 2021. I play defensive tackle. I think we should be able to social distance practice because it would allow us to continue the bonds of brotherhood that we've made throughout the years. And it also would get a lot of athletes up and running again. For me, it would be stepping up my leadership role on the field and off the field, making sure my teammates are prepared and safe throughout the COVID experience.
I'm Lee Campbell, and I'm a strong safety at East Mecklenburg High School. I'm in the class of 2021, and this video is to explain why it's important that we social distance at practice. I don't feel like it's that hard to take tests before games and before practices so that viruses aren't contracted at every event, but I also feel like everybody needs to understand that football is an outlet for young men in high school, and it's some people's ways of going to college for free. So if you take this away from us and you were going to let us go to school for 2 weeks, values are questioned.
All right, guys, that's part one. There's a lot more to that. I had to cut it a little bit just for this portion, but I'm going to release the whole thing tomorrow on YouTube and Twitter and all of our channels. But guys, I mean, I really appreciate you guys for being here. And I guess my first question is for you, Sean. You're QB1. This is your senior year. I mean, what's it been like for you watching other people practice, not knowing if you're going to play, hearing you might not play, hearing it's still not been decided? What's all that been like for you?
I would say one is kind of stressful, just the fact that me and my team put in a lot of work during this pandemic. We constantly put in work, but we're constantly told like that we're not allowed to play. So I feel like that's stressful just for them because I'm supposed to be the leader and I have to go off how their emotions feel. And just the fact that they keep pushing it back is just like we're kind of like some dudes are saying we're kind of working for nothing. But it's just hard. Look, it's hard to like manage everybody and make sure that we're not working for nothing. There's a better plan at the end of the road. And this will eventually subside.
Keenan, same question.
So for me, it's like I hope they just do it like for the best of our interest. Because like, yeah, like you said, like we just working for nothing at this point. But hopefully, it's not in the end. Like we working hard. I'm telling my quarterback like to work y'all all the time, and it's like it's stressful not knowing like what's gonna happen at the end, or it's like real stressful not knowing like what are we doing this for if we even not gonna have a season.
So this is going to play off of that I family that I see there. My question for both of you guys, Keenan and Coach Natoli, is what is the atmosphere like at Independence with you not playing? And that atmosphere should include the players, students that you fellow students, parents, the community. What is that mood like right now?
So for us, I mean, it's like always like a family. It's not just like a sport. So like every now and then, my coach always hit me up and ask how I'm doing, or like I'm always with my quarterback, or working out. So it's kind of like more of a bond and like a family. It's not just a sport. Like we always like making sure that we all good. It's not just like football. Everybody like we all humans or whatever. So it's more of just a family and strong bond.
Coach Natoli, same question.
Yeah, I mean, I think in March when this all started, it was kind of a shock for us, but our spirits were great with our kids. We're doing Zoom meetings all the time, having group workouts and things. And, the morale was really good. We've been through a lot and, our kids handled that great. The last month or two over the summer, just kind of things getting pushed back. I mean, it's been borderline depressing, to be honest with you. And, when you got kids texting you all the time every day and wondering if we're going to get to practice and if we're going to get to play eventually at some point, it's kind of hit us hard. So, it's been frustrating lately for sure.
So Keenan, if you had the opportunity, and this is your opportunity, to talk directly to the superintendent, Ernest Winston, what would you like to say to him?
If I had the chance to talk directly to him, then I would, of course, like stress how important that is to like student athletes across the world, and then I would like explain how big of a deal this is to us and what that means to us. I know I can speak for a lot of student athletes. Like when I say football right now is like all we want to do. This can mean like the world to us, and like that's all that's been on my mind lately. So I would just stress that fact.
Sean, if CMS were to tell these football players that we will allow you to work out and we will even allow some 7-on-7 competition, but we're going to push football back to the spring, Do you think that would be a solution or a compromise for the athletes in CMS?
At this time, yeah, I do. We just need something to get like the mind up for not doing anything at all. I feel like 7-on-7, we can still bond, we can still work, and practice alone, we can still like get that connection that we need. But we know that this spring doesn't really, I feel like it doesn't really affect us. I mean, as long as we get to play, I feel like everybody will be happy. But moving in back to spring, we having a 7-on-7 and stuff like that, it's basically like just having the whole summer and everything right back over again.
How is it important? How important is it to play this year with a lot of the colleges starting to pull out of the season? Do you think that affects your recruitment? Kenan, how about you?
Oh, no doubt. Especially like for us seniors, class of 2021, this is like our last shot, especially for a lot of guys who, got looked over last year, didn't have much film. So this is kind of like a big impact on us not having this senior season and not being able to put your name out there. So it'll be like extremely important for like these camps and stuff, and for us to just have a season period.
Coach Ntole, I really appreciate you putting that clip together. I got your text message and I thought it was a great idea, but kudos to you, man. This was a really good deal. I had one question for all of you guys. I'm going to give you two options, and I want you to choose one or the other. And I don't know what the correct answer is, but I just want to know your opinion. Say we are able to go and play fall football right now and other fall sports, but there was no guarantee we would finish the season. And if we didn't finish it, we wouldn't get any of those games back. Would you rather do that? Or if you knew you could play in the spring and play a full schedule and it was not as much risk, would you rather do that?
I would rather play in the spring just because we get all our games, and two, just because we also have families that we have to get back to. So by taking that risk that, we might put them in harm of being sick is a big factor. But if we give them the spring and the less chance of us getting sick and the less chance of we spreading the virus, I feel like there should be no problem with us having to play during that time.
Yeah, I would choose the spring as well because, like, knowing that we're going to have a full season, I just know, like, in the back of my head, knowing that I have a full season, that sits right with me. And, like, taking the precautions and, like, knowing that the numbers could be lower and, like, keeping my family safe, then that would be great to me.
What about you, Coach?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, man. I think everybody would choose to play in the spring. This is not about – for us, it's not about playing football in the fall. We just want to be able to practice. We just want to be able to see our kids. If we had a definitive plan to move it, we could work on rescheduling games. We could, get our complete preseason summer workouts in. Basically, if we started now, obviously, hopefully the virus numbers will be better by then. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me that's a win-win situation for everybody. And I just want to say I really like what Virginia did, and basically saying, we're going to play all 3 seasons in the second semester. We're going to start with winter first, then go to fall, and then go to spring and have shortened seasons. But that's a definitive plan. They know a start date. That would give us time to work on scheduling, like I said, give us time to develop our kids and get them ready, especially ones that haven't been doing a whole lot. That seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yes, I agree.
I have a question for you, Coach, but that's the key thing is we don't have a plan. And I think that bothers a lot of us. The question I want to ask you, and I don't want to lead you, but I don't want to make one seem to be more important. And the question was, what do you think you miss most by not working out right now, competitiveness, or is there something else? And would you like to tell us what you feel like is hurting them or you're missing the most right now?
Just the relationships with the kids. I mean, it's, we had kids stop by and buy some masks a couple weeks ago, and I almost cried every time I saw a kid. I mean, it was an incredible feeling. And I think the players miss each other. They miss the coaches. I know the coaches miss the kids. It's not about football for us. It's just about those relationships and the mentoring. And, a lot of kids across the country right now are going through, depression type things and confusion and all those things. And as high school football coaches, we're the ones that are always there for them. Every day they come to school if they're frustrated or they get in trouble or, having problems at home, they come to us. And it's not just sending a text or a phone call. It's being able to interact with them face to face. And I think that's what we all miss the most.
So Sean and Keenan, how about you guys? What do you think you're missing the most right now or have missed? And
So no doubt, it's that connection with the coach or whatever. Like that's like my family, them and my teammates, no doubt. So just being out there in that environment, in that atmosphere, that was just great for me. Like, so I'm really missing that. And like, some of those coaches act as father figures for me, most definitely. So like seeing them and like learning from them and, just being out there is just great.
To second on what he said, this is a relationship basically, because the whole high school experience, relationship with your coaches, you build a bond with your players, with your teammates. I feel that's one of the things we might work out together, but it's like going to practice, lifting, doing all the extra conditioning, grinding with each other that we do.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. We sure appreciate your participation tonight. It's always good to hear people who are adversely affected by some of the decisions that are being made right now, and we need to hear your point of view. Now we move on to the next segment.
We all understand that practice is way bigger than just a game. It's way bigger than just showing up just to do anything. It's about working with a whole bunch of different individuals that have the same goal as you do. And it's also an escape mechanism for most kids because they have stuff going on at home they can't control. They have stuff going on in school that, they still can't control. It's just hard for them to put all that stuff together. Going to practice really gets their mind for a lot of things.
My name is Corey Hunter. I go to Butler High School. I'm in the class of 2021 and I play free safety. With the right rules and regulations, we'll be able to practice and play safely.
Hey, my name is Brendan McMoore. I go to Philip O'Berry, class of 2022. I play linebacker, and I feel that we should have the chance to practice during this time so we have the chance to perfect our craft and prepare for the next level.
My name is Larry Kinney, class of 2021, quarterback at West Mecklenburg High School, and we need football. Football provides structure and keeps kids off the streets, helping them stay focused and extra motivated. A lot of this is people's second home, second family, and another brotherhood. For rising juniors and seniors, this is the most important year. We need this year for film and so we can be able to get recruited.
My name is Keenan Silas. I'm a receiver at Independence High School and I'm class of 2021. I feel like we should be able to return back to practice. I feel like it'll be a great idea, actually. I know it's a lot of precautions that we can take to counterattack this virus or to overcome it. I feel like we can go out there, space out 6 feet, do all the precautions to stay safe. I feel like it'll mean the world to a lot of us athletes to go back out there and with our brothers and our coaches. I feel like some coaches act as father figures for us, so us going out there in that environment would mean the world to us.
Hey, my name is Zaire Falls from Morris Park High School. I play offensive tackle. Football is really important right now. We need to be together, especially what's going on in this society. We need our teammates. We need our coaches that we trust, and we trust them. I just feel like we should just get an opportunity, an option to play or not play, I feel like it should be our choice to play or our parents' choice to play or not. Please give us an opportunity because some seniors don't have this opportunity that we have right now.
It's good stuff. I appreciate it, Coach Natoli, for putting that together. I really do.
Yes, sir. I just want to make a couple of final comments. First of all, last time I was on, Coach Grant, I didn't really hear what you were talking about. So I apologize for that, but I want to just say that we should bring the rivalry back, and let's go ahead and schedule that non-conference game for next year and the year after.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll definitely do it, my brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. I just want to make a couple of final statements. First of all, I think the criticism of our leaders and, our superintendent and Q Tucker and those type of things, I think are unfair. I mean, this is completely unprecedented situation. They're relying on information that's given to them, which changes all the time in reality and maybe not reality sometimes. So, I mean, their job is almost impossible because it doesn't matter what they do. 50% of the people are going to be upset and they're going to scream and yell. And, criticism of Langston for making that post, I think, is ridiculous, to be honest with you. I mean, he probably does more in Charlotte to showcase coaches and players than anybody and get the news out there. And I think he's extremely unbiased with his viewpoint. So, just all the criticism and hate going on in the world. I mean, the fact that we're bringing that into high school football like this is crazy to me. Second thing I want to say is that, that they talked about, we've talked about the metric. I talked about the metric last time. What are we looking at? The parents brought it up tonight at the school board meeting, a couple of weeks ago. The health expert that was there basically said that the metric that they're, recommending that we look at is the percent positive. And then I also saw in several places where if it gets down to 5%, then that's what we want to get schools back open and those type of things. Well, as you see, the last week and a half or so, the numbers have gone down in the state. They actually reported today that it was 5% positive across the state. They also reported, I think, yesterday that Mecklenburg County was at like 6.8%, I believe. So just all the athletes out there watching, like the numbers are going down. We're extremely close to that metric that they're talking about. So the possibility of us opening up schools in some capacity and getting sports back some capacity is likely, in my opinion, based on what they've told us before. And I also want to say that, this is not about us playing games in the fall. I mean, the superintendent clearly stated in the survey that he didn't see us playing sports if we're not going back to school, which I thought was obvious to me. So I don't know why that upset so many people. But we just want to practice, man. We just want to practice. We want to be able to social distance practice, follow all the guidelines. It's way safer than anything they do. And at the same time, there's just so many things, so many positives in it. If we're all about the kids, we're all about what's doing best for them. We're all about their safety. I mean, that's what football coaches do all day, every day. Coach, you know that. I mean, we sacrifice everything else just to help our kids be successful. So, we're just begging to let us practice. And the state's going to come out next week. They're probably going to move football to the spring. If I had to bet money, I would say that. Hopefully they're looking at the Virginia plan really hard. But I mean, hopefully enough people have seen these kids' faces and seen the parents' faces. I mean, look at how many people signed the petition, that type of thing. We just want to practice. We just want to see our kids. We want to be with our kids. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, nobody else, but I'm assuming that a lot of coaches and players are on that same mindset. If we care about our kids, we know that COVID is real. It's not like we think this is fake. We understand it's real. We understand everybody's life, everybody's health is extremely valuable. That's why we want to practice, because these things are so important. And our kids are going to be safer with us practicing than they are going to these camps and doing their own practices and doing the things that they're doing now. So if we want them to be safe, let them practice with us. If we want to address all the emotional situations and the physical and mental well-being, social well-being, all those things, then we should be able to practice. So hopefully they consider that and let us start practicing soon. Hopefully we get a plan and we keep breaking down these numbers and get back to school and we can beat this thing together. We just got to stop fighting and pulling apart and blaming everybody for everything.
Yeah, I agree. And thanks so much, Coach Natoli, again as well. Of you, you do a phenomenal job. You got a great heart for these kids. That's the most important thing. I just want to build my relationship with my kids at West Charlotte. I haven't even had an opportunity to do that yet, to build that bond, to the trust and things like that. I need to practice too, obviously, if we're going to be playing in a year or so. So we definitely need to get rolling for that, for the big eye. So I appreciate it, Coach. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Appreciate all you guys. Looking forward to it, Coach.
All right. Talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
All right. This is my favorite time. One of my favorite times of the show. I still like that coach versus coach because Grice needs to get some of that a little bit later on. But catching up with Kenzie McLean, the future star. What do you got cooking this week?
So kind of feeding off what Coach Natoli said, we talked to Dylan Brady about what he's doing, including camps, working out with his teammates. He's getting work in unprecedented times when he doesn't know what's going to happen. Talk to him about what he's doing to try to get recruited during this time, not being able to go to the college camps. So we talked to him a little bit about his experience and what he's doing.
All right, let's roll it.
Get down, ball.
over here with Dylan Brady, Huff High School, outside linebacker. Dylan, you've been going to a couple camps recently. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I went to the Carolina Experience Showcase. It was fun. I also went to the VTO Top 100. They were both great experiences. Got to showcase my talents in front of everybody and put my name out there a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds like a ton of fun. What have you been doing during quarantine to help with your recruiting process?
I've been staying pretty active on Twitter, recording drills I'm doing, putting together videos and stuff, so get them out there so people can see, mixing them with my highlights and marketing myself to coaches, I guess, just to let them know I'm there.
So CMS hasn't made a decision yet on whether to play the 2020 season. What do you think they should do?
I would love to play this fall. I think my junior season is one of my most important seasons, if not the most important season, so I'd like to get out there and play, or if not this fall, hopefully in the spring. I just really want to be able to, get out there and do my thing.
All right, thanks, Dylan.
Well, that kid can definitely play for me.
I'll tell him.
No, Kizzy, don't tell him. Don't tell him.
Don't tell
We're
him.
trying to keep Sam out of trouble. Not get
That type of mentality can play for me. Kenzie, you did a phenomenal job. You're getting better and better. What do you have for us next time?
Trying to talk to some private school kids. They were supposed to start practice today, per Langston Wirtz on Twitter. Information drawn.
Sources. Shots fired. Well, normally we let Kenzie run away at this time, but she's got to hang around and talk about a fresh face. We did this last week, fellas, and it became an instant hit. I mean, I got probably 50, 60 nominations for fresh faces, so it's definitely going to be part of the show. Let's drop that theme music. Yeah, Coach, what do you think about that, Griner?
That's good stuff. I can't wait to talk about my guy.
Promotion.
I gotta try to make it work because I was having trouble in the pre-roll here.
I know.
We're gonna go with Grice's guy first. I think I got it working. Here we go. Grice would pick. It's not working. See.
It was working. It went for a second. There we go.
There you go. Grice would pick a quarterback.
Of course. So I got Troy Holloman, quarterback from Avery County, school in Newland, North Carolina. So just above Asheville. This guy's a baller, man. I talked last week. I had Dawson Cox from Ashe County. Now I have him, another mountain guy. Coach Piscopo told me he's a great kid. 38 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He actually started his first 4 games, 11-31, 18 touchdowns, no picks. You saw the pass just now. I mean, great quarterback, able to throw off platform, able to throw the accurate deep ball here. You see, he has no problem with throwing the ball and getting it down the field and putting it in very tight spaces. That's one great thing about this film as I was watching. You don't see these throws of wide open guys. You don't see these just throwing to people that that are much worse or much better. He's a great kid. I just want to highlight another quarterback that's doing big things up there in the mountain.
Air raid.
There's a little bit in the mountains. That's why they're able to throw it a little better.
You surprised that Grice would pick a quarterback?
No, not at all. I want him to if he picks someone on the defensive side of the ball, it will amaze me.
I've got some guys now. I've got some guys coming. Just wait.
All right, Gary is up next, and I think I'm gonna make his highlight work too. Wait a minute.
I know this one pretty well myself. This guy.
Yeah, look at that.
This next guy is Christian Hamilton. I had the pleasure of coaching him in my last year of high school coaching. You hear me, Sam? My last year. This guy's phenomenal. He's a freshman. You can see him with the ball in this highlight. Great run after catch. He's probably the most polished kid at the wide receiver position I've ever coached.
Ever?
He's great at high pointing the ball. He's great run after catch. But what I really like about him is he was a willing blocker. I mean, he'll take guys and run them off the sideline, pancake them. You can see his run after catch right here. And he's just a rising sophomore. He's got offers from all the big boys, Georgia, Virginia Tech, Louisville, and even Carolina, along with a lot of other schools. He is going to be
I love how they threw in Carolina at the end.
So Gary, where are you going to be pushing this young fella to go is the question.
I've never advised a kid where to go to school other than, to make sure it fits his criteria and is somewhere, he's going to feel comfortable away from athletics. But Carolina, of course.
All right, Kinsey, you're on deck. This is your guy. You talk.
All right, we got Tad Hudson. He's a 2023 quarterback, Huff Boy. I like to call him Huddy Dimes. He stepped into his Olympic in a playoff game, and he went off through 80% of his completions, and then went into Richmond, second round of the playoffs, started his first varsity game, threw a little under 50%, but he threw an 80-yard touchdown pass. I mean, the kid's a stud. He's got 14 offers, including Texas, Auburn, UNC. I mean, he's a stud.
Grace, what do you think?
Oh, he's probably one of the best quarterbacks that young that I've seen. I mean, I was impressed when I saw him. Of course,
wait. You said he's one of the best young quarterbacks you've ever seen. Now, Sam, you swear up and down as a quarterback in South Charlotte's the best you've ever seen. Is this guy just as good?
He's better.
Sam?
All right, let me just. I got a few things to break down real quick. That receiver that Gary talked about is phenomenal. His first step is ridiculous, and he is big time. Every offer he's getting is well-deserved, and he's a great kid too, but he's a physical wide receiver, like Gary said. Now, the Huff quarterback, I have to go against him this year, and he looks like he's very polished, but let me just get something very clear. Drake May is the best quarterback you will ever see come out of North Carolina in a long time. He will play NFL football in the future, not bearing any big injury. He's big time. Just trust me. The way that he plays translates the further you go.
I agree, but again, that was a freshman. Sorry to take over. That was a freshman in Richmond County there, right, Kinsey?
That's a freshman, first varsity start.
Right. So run after catch.
Stankovich of Ardrey Kell. Dale, what do you think about this?
Yeah, so run after catch there. Sam and I got to see him, and Chris, we got to see them play Olympic, and this kid he's a phenomenal athlete. Watch this play right here. Watch the kid just busting. I heard the word stud. This young freshman is a stud. He goes after it. He's a great runner, great look to the hole. You'll see this here again. Boom, great hands, but he's also great out of the backfield. I don't know, Langston, if you got any of those plays that looks like you don't, but you can see a lot of air raid. I think we got us a great player here that we're going to be hearing a lot about over the next few years. I do not know about anything as far as offers are concerned, but Sam, it was stunning how well that freshman played.
Yeah, he stole the night when we went to the game. That's the only person I could watch play with his long hair. I don't know if he still has it, but the thing's flowing in the back.
Yeah, I remember you talking about his hair. I remember that.
Yeah, it was, but his confidence as a freshman, you can't teach that. You can't coach that. It's just evident for him. It's pretty special. Now let's talk about some real football, some big time work.
Here we go.
In the daggone trenches, Angelo McLaurin. This dude's 6'5", okay, literally 6'5", 330, 320 range, athlete. Look at him running the football. He's literally running the football versus Hopewell right here. Didn't get a little game also. he'll get some bigger yardage in a minute. But the kid is a Power 5 big-time football player. I'm telling you, he's strong. He's very light on his feet. I cannot wait to get my hands on and coach this guy up, because I coached a pretty good offensive lineman at Harding and Javon Gwynn, and he'll probably be an all SEC offensive guard this year. And I think this kid could be maybe even bigger or better than him because he's 6'5" and he's athletic. So big time. I want to see the big run coming up here. It's like at minute 20.
Bryce, how do you deal with a guy this big? You just put two guys on him all the time?
Well, and the run Sam's talking about was the first one, so I think it was a little shock for our defense having to deal with somebody that fast and that big. No, he's dead on, man. He's a phenomenal kid, great agility for that size to put him in the backfield and be able. And this is the play he's referring to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But again, the play didn't count and got called back, so we're really not even
serious.
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry, Coach. My bad.
Hey, that's a victory. That's all about it, right, Sam? All we do is win.
I'm telling you right now, that kid will have ACC, SEC offers if we play this year. I guarantee it.
Where's the love for the defensive players? You guys got to nominate some defensive players. Lwords at charlotteobserver.com. Hit me on social media. Hit these guys on social media, and we'll put them on next week.
Enzo plays nose guard. I think he might go as a nose guard to the next level.
Play everywhere, so I already know that.
Dale wants to know, is that guy going to be the new Fridge?
Oh, yeah, the Fridge, baby. You know it. I love it.
Sam, you always have fans everywhere, Sam. Fans everywhere.
That's the thing. I've got to win beat the crowd, and I've got to actually beat with the content.
My God.
I know.
That's why I was going.
It's a stacked deck always against me. It's crazy. It's always a
Man. Everybody knows you got people from Bible school in here. Like, it was so great. And Miss Ellie's Bible school class. Everybody always makes a comment every week. Oh, I love Griner from one of your days in Catawba or somewhere.
When do we do the show? Monday, the day after church. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. You go into church and you speak up there during announcements that Sam Griner is going to be on Talking Preps. Make sure you go and show support. Show me your church announcements. I know they're right near you.
It's in the bulletin in church.
I love it. Look, every week when you guys come on, I swear the numbers go up. So we're going to put you on. It's time for Coach versus Coach. I think the last time y'all win, I think Grice eked out a win on you, Sam. But we're going to see what happens this week. Let's drop your theme music.
I know I actually owe Langston a picture because I've been quarantining and haven't been around people for someone to take a picture. So I've got to like say
be around you. That's the thing. Like you live a single life.
I'm in here doing great, man. All right. So either way, we know the first question is going to talk about who's got more to prove. We're both we're both IMEC guys. So we know two of the three Titans. Who's got more to prove in 2021? Mallard Creek or 4AA state champ Vance? And I think I'll go first since we can go ahead and get this going. To me, it's Vance. When you look, especially when you're talking last year, Vance was the state champion. They were 1-2 against the other two Titans of the conference. We talk about the three Titans in the IMEC being Vance, Huff, Mallard Creek. So they won the game that mattered, but it's just so tough to do it the hard way. And those guys on IBM Drive are built for it, but you just wonder as you go down the line, as you go and make a tougher schedule, and then you have the target on your back, can you continue to do it the tough way, especially going through the regular season, finishing third and having to go the tough route? They did it last year. It's going to be tough for them. You also look at the guys they lost. I mean, you look at the offensive side of the ball, Jalik Cooper, Jordan Payne, Riley, Dante Armstrong. That is an all-conference offensive side of the ball. If I had that in my backfield, I'd win 8 games. They lost all that. We go to the defensive side. D-line, Steven Sings, I think, won to Liberty. You look at Stephon Thompson, who to me was the best player in the state last year. Especially look at the state championship game. When it was tough on offense, tough on defense, he made the play to win. You look at the DBs, Lowry, best DB in the state, I think. You got Gillette, Dylan Tucker. We are naming guys. Solomon Sutton was a weak side backer. All of these D1 guys that they've lost, they've got to replace these guys and then step into a schedule that's tougher than anything I think that anybody's experienced. To play Dutchport, to play Weddington, and then go through the gauntlet of our conference, and then go through the playoffs and have to play 2 to 4 of the best teams in the state again. That's a lot to prove. And if they want to show that IBM Drive it's a dynasty and it's not just a flash in the pan, they've got to prove a lot this year.
Are you done?
I'm done, man. I'm done. I'm fired up, man. It's my conference. You don't learn food about this IMAC.
You like plant-based. You were long-winded right now.
I told you, I've been eating good. Thanks.
All right, so look, we're not at the question does not say who's the better team right now. Vance, I think, is a better team. It says who has more to prove. You got to read the question a little better. It's Mallard Creek. The reason why is they lost their big-time coach that they've been there since the beginning, won multiple state championships. He's won 9 out of the last 10, I think, conference championships. Now you have a new coach in Kennedy Tinsley that I think is a phenomenal man, but it's totally different from the coach that just left. I mean, his vision is completely different. He's trying to build men. Now, that's more to prove. Can he still be able to, raise these men up in his program and still be successful on the football field like Paul Mary did? So I think he has more to prove with that team this year than Vance does. Vance has went back-to-back state championships. They won the last one. They've been to the semifinals, I think, 3 years in a row before that. They don't have nothing else to prove. They're a very, very great team. Everybody knows that. The more to prove is easy. It's Mallard Creek.
Yeah. I mean, look at that, Dale, of course. Dale's never voted for me, so we're going to say that. Yeah, I understand it. So let's go to the next one. All right, so we know within the IMAC, you guys are Team Nike. Hopewell, we're Team Adidas without a doubt. So let's go. You go first. Nike or Adidas?
I mean, this is really a joke question, to be honest with you. All right, like you got Nike and you got Adidas. Adidas makes their equipment so much cheaper just so people would buy it and people get, they can advertise it that way. Nike is the premium. If you want, what do you got on your feet right now? I guarantee you got some Nikes.
But I Adidas because I represent the school. What do you mean?
The quality of the material is just way better. Now, the only thing that's good about Adidas is the prices. But like everything, if you want something great, you got to pay a little bit more. And Nike is where it's at. It's the swoosh. Just do it. I mean, come on. It's not even close. Like, think about all the NFL. Who's the NFL? Who are they with? Are they with Adidas or Nike? Okay. I might have forgotten. Now, most of the football in college, is that Nike too?
I mean, again, I'm so focused. I mean, when you look at Adidas, though, again, you talk about shoes. Adidas, the Ultra Boost shoes are some of the most comfortable running shoes. I've been running. I've been doing my research. Those Adidas shoes are great. You talk about the Adizero cleats, man. Us having those. Hey, I'm sorry. That's the lightest shoe, and we've got the fastest guy in the state in Julian Gray. When he has those Adizeros on, no one's beating him. No one's beating them. They're quality. You look at the jerseys around here. I mean, I know you look at the NFL. I'm looking around here with what we outfit our kids in. You look at Butler. You look at Hickory Ridge, where you came from. You're an Adidas guy, actually. So you probably helped to get them on that team. Charlotte Catholic. All of these schools, great programs, have made the choice to go with the winning Adidas, just like we have. In our conference, you'll see Lake Norman has some of the best jerseys. The white Adidas jerseys are some of the best jerseys out. You got Adidas when you're talking about football.
What is Vans? The one that just won the state championship. Are they Adidas or they?
They could have played in pennies. They could have played in pennies and they would have beat the crap out of anybody. They could have played in FUBU and they would have won. It didn't matter.
All right, it's simple. The premium's Nike. I mean, swish.
Whatever. All right, so we started this. I didn't even want to make this a thing, but here you go. I'll let you go first because I already know what we have.
Want me to go first again?
It doesn't matter. I mean, whatever. Ooh, wow. Back in the backstage is he. I can do it. I'm sorry. So again, Hopewell's band under Gino Diggs, our band director. Let's go. We'll go with the accolades to start, and then I'll let you just talk about back in the 1980s when you were in school. They had 7 straight grand champion awards, which is first place in anything they've been in. 3 against West Charlotte. Oh, Beyonce. See, there you go. Gabby supporting. But we had 3 first places against West Charlotte, the fastest growing program in the East Coast. First place trophies in every state from Maryland to Georgia. So every competition they've been in, from Maryland to Georgia, first place. Attended the Chicago Thanksgiving Parade, first band to be unanimously invited to the Peach Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, handpicked by Tom Tillis to represent NC in the Washington, D.C. 4th of July Parade. I'm forgetting a couple things because there's no need to say anything else. The fact is, Hopewell's band is the best in this city. without question. You can talk about the 80s. That's cool. I love West Charlotte's history. But right now, Hopewell's the best band.
You said it right there. Our history's a different level. Like, you guys get excited to come against our band because our band's name, everybody understands. You know, we're not going to get popcorn and nachos at halftime. We're watching the band. You know, people in the stands at Hopewell at halftime, what do they go do? They go grab a burger or a pizza or something like that. Now, competitions at Hopewell, to be honest with you, that's phenomenal. But this is about sports band, like people that feel the beat, the emotion behind it. West Charlotte is band. I mean, Hopewell just, you won some competitions. And I think the only reason why you won some competitions, I think your band director, I think he graduated from West Charlotte, to be honest.
He did not. I told you our band director did not. Don't lie. Don't lie. That's a lie. Don't lie. Our band director is completely in the area. Don't lie. Like,
it is what it is, man. Okay.
Like I said, you guys were then. We're the best band now. It's okay. It's okay.
So traditionally, who's the best band?
So you used to be the best band. So
we're the best band. Okay.
All right. Hey, let's go into it. This one's a great one right here. Coach versus coach. We know that's your boy, Dabo Swinney. We know who you love. So let's go ahead and you just tell me why Dabo, coach versus coach, he's the best.
Dabo Swinney is the best coach in the game. College, professional, high school, doesn't matter. He's the best there is because he speaks life to his players. The relationships that are beyond football are still so evident. When you hear Deshaun Watson talking about, Dabo Swinney, he loves him. Now, here's another great factor that you will not get with Nick Saban, okay? Dabo Swinney, all right, how many coaches does he lose on a regular basis year in, year out? They love working with him, the camaraderie, the family, the thing that he preaches, it really is evident there. That's why their recruiting is top 3 in the last 4 years, every single year. All right. It's because the relationships, they're not losing assistant coaches. Nick Saban, yeah, he's a phenomenal coach, but the environment that he's doing, he's not speaking life. It's all about process. It's not about relationships. This is bigger than just a process of winning a football game. And that's why I brought up to him the emotion that Clemson brought in the championship, took down a Titan of Alabama. I mean, that was special stuff to watch that. And Dabo is the best coach there is right now. Easy.
I mean, it's okay. Like I said, I like Dabo. I think it's a difference. And I mean, again, that embodies our personality difference. I'm there. Saban has his guys there for a reason. I coach under Coach Bird for a reason. I want to go to the next level. That's the situation with Saban. You look at all of the coaches that he has. His coaching tree, I'll give you some. Mario Cristobal, head coach at Oregon. Your boy, Jeremy Pruitt, head coach at Tennessee. Lane Kiffin, the head coach at Ole Miss. Kirby Smart, who actually met him in the national championship game, Georgia. Jimbo Fisher, Will Muschamp. I've got some crazy stats for you with how great Saban is. You don't talk about revolutionizing. Every player that's played for Saban at Bama has won a national title. Everyone. You look in the NFL, every team except for one has a player that went to Bama, and the only team that doesn't is the Saints. And that player that could have went was Alvin Kamara. So technically, he committed to Bama, but he didn't play for them. So every team in the NFL has been influenced by a player that committed to Bama originally. It's a situation where Nick Saban brings and grows men, allows them to go to the NFL, allows them to go to other places to be great head coaches. That is what I love about Saban. He's people, but it's about going to make them be great in other places.
No, but in the league, I know people personally that work for Nick Saban. I know them very, very well. I know Pruitt very, very well.
Yes.
He get a lot of money being a coordinator. Elliott, these other guys at Clemson, they make good money. You don't think that their defensive coordinator can get a head job right now? You don't think Elliott can get a head job?
Venables the only one that could. They're not going to get Rudy Poo jobs. Kirby Smart went to go Georgia. Pruitt went to Tennessee. They are going to SEC level jobs. He's making millionaires. He's making millionaires that are running their own program. A coaching tree is about the branches and building guys to become great. You talk about building young men. That's what Saban's doing. He's not on their hand. He's not keeping them close. He's allowing them to go be great and spread their wings somewhere else. That is evident. When we talk about, even in CMS, you look at a Rocky White, someone who has built branches and allowed for other coaches to be great. Coach Newsom, he's allowed you. He didn't keep you with him and allow you to be some lowly assistant. He allowed you to go spread your wings and be great. And look at the man you become. Boom. I gave you something nice. Let me compliment.
I know Gary and Dale are up right now, but I just want to let you know you did a phenomenal job with the Nick Saban. Nick Saban is definitely one of the GOATs of all time in football. Right now, like you talking about the band situation, right now Dabo's better.
I love how you take stuff that didn't work before and you use it now. That's typical grinder. But hey, like I said, I think this was one of our best coach versus coach sessions. I'll let those guys before they get into their piece to judge it. But we look at the clock, it's time winding down. Let's go ahead and get into the 2-minute warning, guys. Take it away.
Gary, they talked about band, and I don't think they really none of them are old enough to really know what bands were like. One of my problems is that as I go to games now, bands are so small. It's like it's become less of a focus.
Yeah. 20, 30 years ago, if you played in the band, it was mandatory that you were in the marching band. And I don't think school systems mandate that anymore, but I'm gonna have to go with Grice on the bands today. Hopewell has a phenomenal band, not just competition, but halftime as well. Those kids are outstanding, and they were a small band, and it's growing and growing. And now they also play the basketball games, the home games at Hopewell, when they have basketball. So West Charlotte set the tradition, but I think Hopewell is getting ready to take the mantle as being the best high school band in Charlotte.
Actually, West Side bands set the tradition because you had Harding
was awesome.
Mecklenburg as well. All were top bands,
Yeah.
But West Charlotte kind of carried it longer.
Yeah.
Now, this first question I have for you, Gary, is kind of long, and I hate reading questions, but this is about South Carolina High School, and they just had a vote that upheld the decision to play this fall that they had made earlier. And Greenville County has a proposal that will suspend in-person workouts if 15% of the districts decide that they're suspending. That's to kind of keep things competitive, not let someone get an advantage. What do you think about that? Right call? Any lessons that North Carolina can learn here?
Well, I think North Carolina has already had this lesson. If you look back at all the years we've had hurricanes on the East Coast, and those schools get shut down for 2, 3, sometimes even a month of class. The athletic programs are being shut down as well. And our state has not made the rest of the state stop playing. They just moved the state playoffs back. Say, hey, we're going to wait on these guys to get some more games in. Maybe they eliminate a few non-conference games, something such as that. But I don't think it's fair to make other schools stop because something happened at one school.
Yeah, what that would be is a minority setting a precedent. When we vote on things, it's always the majority that rules, right? And this is kind of a minority. 15% is a very small minority that would tell the whole state, well, you got to stop. So I understand the purpose, but that's an awful small number to set the rest of the state at a disadvantage if they can and are willing to play. So I don't like the idea myself, at least not at 15%. That maybe some larger number, yes, but that to me just doesn't make sense. If people are willing to go forward, let them go forward.
Yes. Well, Dale, probably 6 weeks ago, Morehouse College was the first school to opt out of playing football this year. And then it was followed by the Ivy League schools and some smaller D2 and D3 conferences. And then Connecticut last week, probably because they were independent, So they didn't have a ready-made schedule from not being in a conference. But then this weekend, this snowball is starting to become an avalanche. You had the MAC conference. The day you had the Mountain West conference to opt out. There are rumors all over the internet, all the sports talk shows, that the Big Ten will be next, followed by the Pac-12. What is your thinking on about these colleges opting out of football season now?
Well, first, we lose that many of the big conferences. How can we have a season? It's going to be difficult for the smaller schools, as we know, to be able to play because of finances. My thoughts are that if the big schools can't do this and they see that they're having to opt out, and who has a better ability to be able to control set environments, do the testing, do all the things that they need to keep things in line. What this tells me is that it doesn't look good. And the rumors that we're hearing about there not being college football this fall, I think are starting to look like a real thing. How can we have it with so many of the large conferences not taking place?
Yeah, I think that the group of 5 conferences, they're going to find, okay, we don't have that Power 5 game where we can make $1 million to go there. Okay, so that's one thing they're going to think about. The second thing is, even in their home conferences, they can't have home games because of health department regulations or restrictions. So now they don't make a profit off ticket sales. All right. If the Power 5 doesn't drop it, but because they're playing all conference games, the networks are not going to cover the group of 5 because their schedule is going to be full of Power 5 games because they're all conference games. So the group of 5, they won't have a TV contract unless it's a local contract, but it won't be regional or national. They won't have a lot of ticket sales. And then they don't have that big check game, or maybe 2 big check games that can support the athletic department throughout the rest of the year. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see more conferences by this weekend opt out of football. I don't know whether the SEC and the ACC, the Big 12 will follow, but I mean, it's hard to play a national championship when you only got 3 conferences vying for it.
Exactly. I agree with you. So looks like maybe we might not have college football. So what does this mean for the NFL? So if the NFL has a better opportunity of creating these bubbles like the NBA has done and playing, so does that mean maybe we're going to see more Saturday games? Does this give more opportunity?
I think so. I think if the majors opt out, I think the NFL will look to revise its schedule to include, they already have Thursday games, so Friday games, Saturday games, Sunday games, maybe spread the schedule out a little bit more, cut some games and spread the schedule. But I'm sure the NFL will look to dominate the airways from Thursday through Monday. I'm surprised only the Saints have, rented out a hotel and say, look, voluntarily, here's your bubble. You go from the hotel to the facility, from the facility to the hotel, and we'll provide everything you need in that hotel. With people not traveling, I think it would be a good option for probably every team in the league to rent out a hotel that's right across from their facility or their stadium and kind of come up with a semi-bubble. I was surprised that the colleges, especially the Power 5 colleges, didn't go back to athletic dorms. That way they could control the traffic of in and out, probably institute a curfew to make sure the kids are not going out to partying and things like that. But I don't know whether there's some kind of NCAA legislation against athletic dorms anymore. But I thought that might be a way that the colleges could come up with a bubble.
I agree. You'd have thought at least the bigger colleges would have worked to try to create these bubbles. I think the NFL should definitely, every team should do that. And in fact, as I was thinking about it, they should probably reserve another hotel near stadiums, so when teams have to travel to play, that they can have a clean environment that they move into. I can see the NFL benefiting from this. We're suffering for sports right now. I've kind of had backed down on my NBA watching over the years because it just become, not much of a game, but I've watched a lot of NBA. Some of the thoughts are going through my head is the court needs to be longer, needs to be wider, 3-point line needs to be way back. But we're starving for sports, and I can see the NFL capitalizing and running games, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we get to see everybody play, every team. So I think there's an opportunity there, and I believe they'll capitalize on it.
Well, Dale, we've touched on it a couple of times, and we probably need to finish up on this about the schools, CMS schools in particular. Are they sending mixed messages? Initially, we heard there was a survey. We didn't know how CMS did. Then we found out what CMS said on the survey, and that was out for not more than 3 hours. It was at public before the school board came back and said, no, we haven't made any decisions, where the survey seemed to say they had made a decision. What does this tell you about the direction CMS and their decision making is headed?
I think there's two things that I'm told here. One is about CMS and the decision making. I think what indicates to me is they really don't know, and I can understand their difficulty and their first priority. And as you know, with CMS, the priority has become about grading and where kids come out and how the school system looks as far as grading is concerned. And I think that's their focus now, is how can they get their education part in, and they're not even really thinking about where should the athletics. If they are, we don't see it. And I like we've said so many times, I think that's one of the problems, is that we don't see that there's a clear plan. And when I looked at the survey, or as you mentioned, the things that went around the survey, you can see there's a lot of people outside of CMS that are reacting to that lack of information. It's leaving players in a bad situation, coaches in a bad situation. I think it just indicated to me, Gary, when I read over the survey and I went from the top to the bottom, it was confusion. Even looking at the survey starts with one thing of no sports with, if we're doing remote learning, if we're in phase C, no sports. But then at the end, it says, well, no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying we can't have anything off campus. So maybe kids could come on campus. But I don't mean to talk too long, Gary, but it really left me confused, which means they must be confused.
I think CMS is waiting for the state to make a decision. And the states are basing their decisions on what the school systems tell them. So if you have a school system like CMS, 18 public high schools, you also have to realize that their decision, they're spread out over 3 conferences. So they affect Cabarrus schools, they affect Iredell County schools, they affect Union County schools. So whatever CMS decides to do, they have to understand they're affecting 3 more counties. Same thing in Wake County. I think they're spread out over 2 counties, maybe 3. I'm not sure. But if you look at CMS and its surrounding counties, and then you look at Wake and its surrounding counties, you probably have over 55 high schools. Now, if those 55 say they're not playing, then what choice does the state have but to say, hey, we can't play yet? So they're waiting on the state, and the state's waiting on them. And in the meantime, the kids don't have any idea, or the coaches or parents, of what direction we're headed in. And I keep going back to, I like the idea that Virginia made a decision. It might not be the right decision, but they made a decision. Maryland, the same thing.
No, I'm right there. I mean, oh, sorry. You want to go, Colonel?
No, you go ahead. So I think, I can agree that I wish we had a plan in place for the future. But I think that, like you said, they're waiting on the governor. They're waiting on, the higher ups to make decisions, so they don't have to make those decisions to say yes or no. I just do not want to play. I really do not want to play a few games and then all of a sudden it shuts down. And then we lose it, because there's no way we play in the spring. Then after that, we play 2 games. Now, all of a sudden, we really did lose the season. I really love the Virginia plan, like you heard from the other guys that came on our show earlier. Let's play in the spring. Let's figure out a way, maybe winter sports, fall sports, then spring sports. And then we have a great, imagine the second semester of school if we're in school right now and we having 3 different seasons of sports. How much fun and pep rallies, how much fun would coming back to school be? It would be amazing. It really would.
I'm with you 100%, Brian. I mean, I think the biggest problem for me, and I don't think anybody's really highlighted this within the survey, is question 6. And it discusses about will we be able to play football or, have athletics if we're in plan B? And the biggest thing that haunted me was seeing a don't know there. It's going to be very tough to see us go from a plan C of all virtual learning immediately to a plan A where everyone's back in school. It could happen, but I think the likely understanding would be there would be some semblance of a gradual adjustment to get back to all in-school learning. And so when I saw that, coupled with the fact that they stated that there would be no actual athletics under plan C, it seems like your intentions are very clear here, that we can't do anything under plan C. And then when it comes to plan B, we're still not sure yet. So if we're that set within a survey on where we're going to go, what are we waiting for? And, it's not a situation where we're bashing ideas. I think, Superintendent Winston and everyone, as a part of the decision-making process in this area has come to a decision. I do think that's the case. But, the key that you have is that we're sandwiched in between 2 states with very different ideals on how to handle this pandemic and how we're going to proceed with athletics going forward. We see Virginia stated, hey, we're not going to deal with it in the fall. We're going to go ahead and move to the spring. And South Carolina stated that they're going to go in the fall. The common element there is a decision's been made and everyone's proceeding with some plan in place. That is all we're asking for as coaches. And I think North Carolina is failing on that part to do that.
Yeah, I think North Carolina is going to have a plan within a week. I think on August 17th, we'll get some type of plan from the state association. I think, Coach Natoli made a great point earlier. There's a lot of bashing going on about Ernest Winston and CMS, and those guys were in between a rock and a hard place. No matter what they say, somebody's going to be really upset about it. Give me a choice. You're taking my freedoms away, all of that kind of stuff. And then if we start playing and somebody gets sick, they're going to be trying to sue left and right. You got my baby sick, or worse yet, somebody were to pass away. So it's a very, very tough decision. The only thing, guys, I just don't know if it's going to be that much better in the spring. I hope it is, but I don't know. And I think as we see colleges, big-time colleges fall off, they have the ability to test every day, and they can't go. It just makes me wonder, how can high schools go? And I've always kind of been a proponent. If we do try to go, it needs to be on a remote learning anyway. But I think Coach Natoli's other point was, let's at least let them have practice. I think they could have practice right now, summer workouts, distanced apart, working in bubbles, because you guys know and I know that those guys are working out right now. There's a park around the corner from my house. Every day when I go walking, I see 7, 8, 9 guys from a school I won't mention out working together. They're hugging, they're slapping hands, they're sharing phones, they're sharing water bottles. There's, I'd rather see those guys at a high school with the 2 of you at the bottom and Gary and working out that way. So I see both sides of it. I do think we do need some direction. I hear and see the frustration from the players. My heart goes out to them, because if you're a senior, I took my son to college this weekend, and I was thinking the whole time, I said, man, if I was a senior and I was a senior parent, how would I feel? I'd be in knots, especially if I didn't have a scholarship already. What do you guys think?
Yeah. If I was a senior parent, that'd be tough. That's why I would want a plan in place for like the Virginia plan, though, because like you said, is the spring going to get any better? We don't know that, but at least it gives us time to maybe get a vaccination. You might have time to figure more things out, or the numbers actually go down lower. So I just think that, yeah, spring might not be better, but at least it buys us time to see if it does drop a little bit with the numbers.
Gary, what are your thoughts here?
Well, my thoughts is I'm glad your son is on scholarship.
Me too.
Because I saw some of the letters that these universities are sending to the regular student that, hey, if we have to go to remote learning, you're not getting a refund. So you think how college parents are feeling right now. They've just dropped, 2 or 3 mortgage payments at a university, and, probably by Labor Day, they'll know whether this is going to work or not at the college level. But as far as at the high school level, I think the spring, what it does, it also gives, we're starting to see more cases of children getting the disease. And, in states like Georgia, where they've gone back to full classrooms, and now they're having positive tests. And what we don't know is the after effects of this disease.
Well, we saw
a lot of heart issues of people who maybe didn't suffer with the symptoms, but they still were asymptomatic. And I think that's what these big schools are looking at now is the lawsuits. 4 or 5 years from now, these class action lawsuits that they may be faced with for putting these athletes through competition, and maybe they are asymptomatic and they're allowed to continue to play the season. And then 4 or 5 years later, they have all these side effects and they go back and sue the university. That's what the colleges are more afraid of than anything, because with this player movement, one of the things the players are saying is we're not signing waivers. So if a kid gets sick, he can sue the university if he feels like the university put him at risk. And those are going to turn into class action suits. You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's what those big boys are worried about now.
You talked about the heart thing. There was a kid in Nebraska just today that had to be pulled off the field because they found a heart condition. Apparently, they're finding more and more of that. Not a whole lot of them, but they're finding more and more cases of I think it's myochondria. I don't know. I may not be pronouncing it correctly. Yeah, myocarditis or something like that. But there's a heart problem that can occur with COVID. And the thing about COVID, unlike the flu, is we just don't know. We don't know if you have COVID now, will it jump on you later on? Are you immune to it? Some symptoms show up at Christmas you had no ideas about. We just don't know it. So it's a really, really tough thing to put kids on the field tackling each other. But again, I'm for practice. I'm not for playing in the fall, but I'm definitely for practice. But Dale, it's your show. Tell me what's on your mind.
Yeah, I'd just follow up on that, and that putting things off to the spring does give us a little more opportunity to understand what the impact is on children and children passing it to adults, because they are starting now to learn more about that. So that does give us an even better opportunity and maybe some hope. But guys, what I wanted to ask you is that as a society, why can't we grab a hold of some of this? We can't play games, but why can't we find some activities so it's practices for all the, not just football, but for all the sports. So they do their things, and they only do it on campus, but they do something that allows the kids to get together. If it's table football or something that allows there to be some interaction and some control of them. Like Langston said, you got to worry about these kids just going out and doing things on their own. Whereas if they're under you guys as coaches, you're going to have some control over it. So my question to you is, are there things that you think we could do that go beyond us not being able to play games? And as a society, shouldn't we probably try to take that on?
Yeah, I think that we could definitely do things maybe in pods. Like, so say you had maybe 4 groups or 5 groups, and those kids worked out, 2 of them per day or whatever the case may be, and you kept them in those pods. You could probably do weight room and sanitize the equipment. It's pretty easy. but I think maybe we might need to move into everybody has to be tested originally for the COVID to make sure that they're not bringing it in right away. And then I think we can maintain it pretty well. But like I said, once you start going on the umbrella of CMS, and they don't want that liability issues. They don't want that. And honestly, I don't know if I'd want the risk either if I was a part of that, if I knew I was, a stakeholder and whatever the case may be, where it costs me millions of dollars in lawsuits. It's just not worth it right now. So they need a little bit more time.
Sam, I can tell you for every person that says they want football, there's another one that says they don't for equal and opposite reasons. And I know sometimes if you look at your Twitter, you can just kind of get one view of life. And, I try to follow a variety of people so I get different views, but my email tends to tell a lot more true story than my Twitter does. And I hear from so many people via email and calling me and texting and whatnot that have two totally opposite views of the same topic. And I can just imagine where Ernest Winston's getting downtown. I can just imagine.
And I think that they're doing everything they can. I mean, there's no perfect answer for all this. So, all the people that are higher ups, I wouldn't want to be in their position. That's why I don't get paid the big bucks. So, they got to make those decisions. And I think they're doing everything they can. We're, like you said, like you got to, the other day, Grice took up for you, but you got ripped the other day, Langston, and you didn't even say nothing bad. Same things happened to Ernest. He's not even
first time, sir. First time. That comes with the territory. You gotta have a little thing
out there. Trollers.
Man, I love this city, love these schools. Always have, always will. So I mean,
wait a minute. Now, Grice, I actually picked you winning coach on coach. I think the last time y'all did it, you made that comment about I'm always picking against you or something like that. That's not true. You've done great.
Yeah. I'm doing up either way. Everybody's against me. You got to play it up. It's like grinding that.
No, Dale, didn't I? I got him this week.
Y'all split.
Thank you. I told you that. Dale Ross never lied.
You're saying Dabo's not a better coach today, right now, today. Today is not.
That was an all-time coach versus coach comment.
Dabo's the best.
It's gonna won.
Saban needs people. That's what you told me. With all these people leaving and going and becoming, he has to have people to do it for him. And Dabo does it with the same people every season. He doesn't have to have all these great people.
That's an audacious claim that
Dabo has a head coach as his defensive coordinator and pays him that way, so that helps a little bit too.
But Alabama the same amount of money too, but they leave every year. That's what I'm saying. Like
you change the pieces and the same results happen. Math, it's the same thing.
Before we talk to the Sam for his final
thing.
Sam for his final thoughts, I want to give a shout out to Charlotte Steph Curry. While you guys were arguing a few minutes ago, Under Armour just announced they're going to create Stephen Curry's own brand. So he's going to be like Jordan. He's going to have Curry. Outside
the Curry brand.
Look at the old guys getting upset. Hey, Curry makes the shoes for the old guys.
Shout out. That's my man now. Hold on. That's my man. Shout out to Steph Curry.
Wow.
All right, Sam, it's time. Your final thoughts.
I think that we can learn a lot from the bubble aspect of the NBA. I think that they really, really have mastered, like we're looking at sports, they've mastered how to, take the COVID, head on and figure out a way to be able to play. I hope football is able to figure this thing out so that we can play in a fall sports maybe in the spring. And I just don't know if that's going to happen or not. But the bubble aspect, I just hope that we can do more of that. Like watching the PGA the other day, it's easy to play non-contact sports right now, but basketball is a contact sport, and I think they're doing it proper with the bubble. So I think we need to look into something like that. I know that we couldn't do that on a high school level, but maybe in the NFL level, just so that we have something in the fall to look forward to. Hopefully they are able to work something out.
All right. Hey, guys, I know we were missing a teammate tonight, but look who just checked in.
Hey, well, look at there.
What's up, gentlemen? Great show. I caught the last half of it. Great show.
All right.
So I took it to him, Chris, please, one time. Did you watch the coach versus coach?
I caught the tail end of it. I'd probably go Coach Griner.
Sorry, Grace. Grace got me the other week. He got me. I'll admit he got me.
It's a tie, like Dale said. It's a tie.
3-1.
Yeah. Well, guys, great show. Thanks all you guys that watching and still watching. The viewership's going up, but it's past my bedtime. So we're going to catch you guys next week on Talking Preps Monday live at 8.
All right.